For a while now, the women's strawweight division has been one of the most exciting divisions in the UFC. So what better way to resume this series of the UFC Mount Rushmore of MMA fighters by looking at women's strawweight division? I've got one of the best minds in all of MMA. I've got Farah Hannoun from MMA Junkie. So sit back, relax. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the show, Farah. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Such pleasure having you back. Still doing great things, doing stuff with MMA Junkie, etc. So absolute pleasure to have you on the show. As I said in the introduction, women's strawweight division had some amazing fights, some amazing moments, all the way from Carla being the inaugural champion, right all the way up until now, where we have Weili dominating the division. So, Farah, let's get straight into it. Who is the first woman you want to put forward to being on the Mount Rushmore of women's strawweight fighters?
I'm going to go Joanna Jedrzejczyk. I'm just going to go simply for the title defenses. I know people are going to look at level of competition and what the division was like when she was reigning versus when Zhang Weili was reigning and stuff. But I think the idea of longevity and title defenses is very underrated. I think it's something that people don't talk about enough. And that's kind of something that I've been reiterating when talking just in general about GOATs and whatnot. I said it's actually hard outside a level of competition to stay mentally focused to continuously defend your title against the next person in line, regardless of what you think of that next person in line. So a lot of fighters get too caught up with the whole double champ thing, with so many outside distractions. It's not easy to defend your title time and time again. And the more years pass, the more impressive I think it is. So looking at Joanna Jedrzejczyk, she holds a record for 5 most title defenses at 5. That's why I'm going to put her at number 1.
Yeah, she had to be in this list. I remember the first time she really came to the fore was when she beat Carla for the actual belt. And yeah. I remember at the weigh-ins, and she does her little pose where she crouches down and almost looks up at the opponent. And everyone was like, she's really arrogant and really cocky. The more you started watching her fight, you realize was that competitive nature. And you see that she went up to 125 to challenge Valentina Shevchenko, didn't get finished in that fight, even though, she was kind of dominated. She had, in my opinion, probably the greatest women's MMA fight with her and Weili, the first fight, which was just incredible. You look at the hematomas she had on her forehead, and she continued to battle right through battles with Gedalia and Andrade, and even her second bout with Rose Namajunas. I think Joanna, as she dubbed herself, Joanna Champion, was just a breath of fresh air for that division. I think she put that division, and I think she has to be in the category of pioneers along with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, 100%.
As women who not just when we say mixed martial arts, obviously you got your Gina Carano's, etc. Yeah. In terms of the UFC fan base, I think Ronda Rousey is she's the one that sits at the top table when it comes to bringing women's MMA to the fore for UFC, but I think Joanna is second place with that because she just took things to a whole nother level.
Yeah, and before we dive into like the rest of them, this division, especially the MMA math, makes no sense, and we're gonna get to it in a bit. Yeah, because then if you try to make it make sense, it will not make sense. Because like if we try to do the rankings, but this person beat that person, we're not gonna end up with any rankings. So that's why I'm kind of going with the longevity and title defenses, because I feel a long time ago, maybe a couple years ago, I would have told you like, yeah, level of competition. I would think about that when I think of the George St. Pierre's and whatnot. But then I'm like, you know what? We're not seeing too many champions being able to hold on to their belt for too long, right? Now we're seeing how hard it is. Like super talented fighters that aren't able to notch 3-4 title defenses even. So now when you think about it, it's impressive to have 5 title defenses.
Completely agree. Okay, we both got Joanna. Who's your second nominee for Mount Rushmore?
I'm going to go Zhang Weili, the current champ. I was so impressed with her performance against Tatiana Suarez. I know it's easy for people to be like, well, Tatiana wasn't that good and whatnot. But at the end of the day, she was undefeated, very strong wrestler. She completely nullified her game. So it wasn't even a matter of she won the striking exchanges, but lost the grappling, but did more damage. No, it was a dominant win over Tatiana Suarez, who had some very impressive wins on her resume over the likes of Carla Esparza and Alexa Grasso and whatnot. So seeing how dominant she looked in that performance and seeing the rest of the strawweight division, I just don't even know if there's anybody that can beat Zhang Weili, which is why I hate. She deserves it. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely deserves it to fight Valentina Shevchenko. But it's like, why not? This is your opportunity. Looking at the landscape at 115, we were just talking about Joanna's 5 title defenses.
Yeah.
This is your opportunity I don't care if there are rematches on your horizon. That's not your problem. You're the champion.
Yeah.
You fight whoever's next. She has an opportunity to go. I think she has a skill set to go 6, 7, 8 title defenses. And that's what I think she should do instead of kind of go for the double champ thing. But looking at her skill set, she's got 3 title defenses. Obviously, the 2 wins over Joanna. I'm going to put Zhang Weili at number 2.
Yeah, Zhang Weili is definitely in there. You think back to when she won the belt in China against Jessica Andrade. Not many people actually gave her much hope in that fight. Jessica Andrade just came off the back of beating Rose with a brutal slam, and obviously Jessica Andrade was seen as like the strongest in that division, and Weili just completely obliterated her, and everyone was like, "Oh, we've got a problem here." And then obviously she lost her first title fight against Rose, then lost the rematch, and everyone kind of then went cold on her and was like, oh, she's not the person we thought she is. And then she came back like a wrecking ball. And I genuinely believe the title fight win against Tatiana Suarez will age like wine, because I do think Suarez will bounce back. I think everyone, because of how dominant she was, she's a victim of her success, because you look at that fight and how dominant she was. Everyone seems to forget just how much Tatiana Suarez was lauded and how much she was rated going into that fight. If I'm not mistaken, I think Weili might have gone in as the actual underdog in that fight as well. That just goes to show how good Tatiana Suarez is. But as you said, completely nullified on the feet, completely nullified in Tatiana's strongest suit, which is the wrestling, and made it look easy. I'll be honest with you, the reasoning you just gave as to why we shouldn't do the Valentina Weili super fight, I never thought of, and I have to hold my hands up. I understand it now. I'll be honest, I lost my mind when I heard it was Valentina versus Fiorot, because in my mind, in my silly little world, I've have it that you've got International Fight Week, you've got Weili versus Valentina on International Fight Week. But you're right. Sometimes you have to have consistency in these divisions, and if Weili is able to defend the belt numerous times and Valentina is able to continue defending and stay in the division as well, we could have a super fight beyond all realms of belief here.
Yeah, and it's easy to get lured into it, and I understand. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna, complain if Zhang Weili gets a super fight with Valentina, because 3 title defenses, it's solid. She looks super dominant against Tatiana Suarez. Business-wise, it makes perfect sense. But I'm just saying, especially now, us talking about like the GOAT. Like, I just picked Joanna as the GOAT, right? Maybe other people pick Zhang Weili. The whole point is there's a discussion. Why not make it to a point where there is no discussion?
Yeah.
This is what I want to see from champions moving forward. Like, I look at like a Islam Makhachev, and he looks so skilled and well-rounded and dominant. Why not make it like no discussion, like no asterisks, nothing? Like, we just think strawweight, we think Zhang Weili. She could do that. She has the especially that she has the 2 wins over Joanna, right? But now we're discussing, we're putting 5 title defenses, kind of like a pioneer. We're weighing options. But if you go out there and you just dominate and notch 7, 8, whatever title defenses, just make it no argument. That's what I want to see from champions today. But I understand the lure in wanting to challenge yourself, the double champ, the money, the business-wise, and all that stuff. So it's not like I'd hate it, but maybe the super fan in me kind of just wants to see a champion, especially that has that ability, because there are other champions where you go, I don't know, their next title challenger, I don't know if they're going to win that fight. I don't see anybody at strawweight right now beating Zhang Weili. So just dominate your division.
Yeah, makes sense. I hear it. All right, so we've got the first 2 down. We've got Weili and we've got Joanna. Who is the third woman to go on the Mount Rushmore at strawweight?
This is where it's a little bit trickier for me, because I have my 3 and 4, but I don't know if it's 3 and 4 or 4 and 3. Like, that's where I struggle. Because part of me wishes Rose Namajunas stuck around at strawweight. I feel like she could have. Yeah, I hate that she went up to flyweight. I get it. It was probably weight cut related, which Rose never looked that big, so it's kind of weird. But you obviously we don't know the weight cut they're going through and what they're willing to put themselves through. But if Rose Namajunas stuck around, like, she's so freaking talented. Like, Rose, I felt like she was so much better at strawweight than she is at flyweight. Her wins over, the fact that she has wins over Joanna and Zhang Weili, and so impressive as well. Yeah.
Two wins each.
Yeah. So it's like, it's weird. You would think that she should be number one, right? By logic. But then the loss to Carla Esparza, the rematch, it just, like, the two losses to Carla. But considering that Carla's the inaugural champ, the fact that she's a two-time champ, well, so is Rose Namajunas. See, this is where it gets a little bit tricky for me, because the MMA math just doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah.
But it's tricky. That's where it's hard for me to go 3 and 4. I almost feel like it's a little bit maybe disrespectful to Carla to put her at number 4, considering that she's the inaugural champ. And it is, granted, it may have not been the most impressive win over Rose Namajunas. It's still a win. Like, for me, Rose did not win that fight. As lackluster as it was Carla Esparza's win, but she did go on a really nice winning streak with the wins over Verna Jandiroba and Alexa Grasso, Marina Rodriguez, Yan Zhaonan. Like, those are legit wins for Carla. Yeah, you look at Carla Esparza's overall resume, and it's very good. With Rose Namajunas, same thing. So that's, I don't know. It's kind of like a coin toss for me between them.
What's crazy about all the women, because again, I have the exact same. I'll probably do a few honorable mentions, actually. Obviously, you got Claudia Gadelha, you've got Tatiana Suarez, who, barring injury, she could potentially be in this list as well. You also have Jessica Andrade, who was a champion in the division as well. Karolina Kowalski as well, brilliant fighter. You look at Joanna, you look at Weili, and you look at Rose, and you look at Carla, and apart from Joanna, they're all two-time champions as well, which is so weird. It's like they are literally the 4 horsewomen of this division. But then Joanna's got the most title defenses. Carla was the first, but she's also the only one who hasn't defended her belt, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe she hasn't, no.
So again, you said, but Carla's the only one to beat Rose twice, and Rose has beaten the other 2 twice. It's the most confusing division, but also probably one of the most fun divisions. I don't think we as fans maybe appreciated just how fun the division was because it was happening at a time. I think we look back in 5-10 years time and go, that was a really fun period in the strawweight division, because these women were all so close that they were all beating each other and then winning multiple belts and multiple titles. I have Rose slightly higher than Carla, only because Rose did defend and because she beat the 2 other women in the division. But
now that you bring that up, you bring that up, trying to think about it like that, then because I remember, like, Rose is the most one that when I watched her, granted she only had 1 title defense in each reign, but just watching her compete, like, she gave me the most wow moments at watching. Like that, the knockout of Joanna, no one saw that coming. Then the head kick of Zhang Weili was just crazy. That was crazy. Like, those are, like, we watch these fights so late at night, you and I, and then just seeing moments like that, like she gave me the most wow factor. So actually, now that we've discussed it, I'd put Rose at number 3 and Carla at number 4. There you go.
I just realized as well, you're right, because again, being in the UK, we kind of get lost in our own source. You're 2 hours ahead of us, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we start our pay-per-views at 3 a.m. So you start yours at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I won't complain anymore.
No, you still have a right to complain. Still late.
Yeah, that is 5 a.m. is rough. So you'll finish at 8 a.m.
Yeah, like 8:30, depending if it's like a 5-round fight.
Jeez, because we start at 3, finish around 6:30, and it's rough. It is really. But you're right. Whenever I think of Thug Rose, I think of DC screaming Thug Rose after she knocks out Weili. But then I also think about Weili spinning back fist finished against Joanna. But then when I think of Joanna, I think of the clinic she puts on against Claudia Gadelha, the clinic she puts on against Jessica Andrade, the finish she gets against Carla Esparza. But with Carla Esparza, I sit there and I think about a woman who was badly beaten by Joanna, rebuilds herself, fights, what was it, a week before her wedding, picks up the belt, sporting a black eye at the wedding as well as wearing the belt. Like, they're all like fairy tale stories in that division. For me, it's one of the maybe the most underrated division in the UFC since its iteration. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
No, I agree. I know that was like, just like you said before, the roller coaster of the champions changing every single time. Oh, that's why I kind of go back to what Joanna did being impressive, right? Because you saw how many times it got shaken up between the different fighters, and that's why part of me is like kind of mad that Rose left after that like lackluster split decision. It's like it didn't show anything good, but it didn't show anything terrible either. It was like a nothing fight. So for me, it's like I would have liked to see, because one win, she would have been back in the title picture, right? Yeah. So maybe she would have been higher up on my list if she stuck around. But the fact that she ended up going to 25, and now that Zhang Weili's notched 3 title defenses and looks so dominant, that's why I have her above Rose.
Do you think there's a chance Rose goes back down?
I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit hard when you like. I think she's pointed to the weight cut as it being part of the reason. I don't see her having this grand success at 25. Like, she hasn't looked like the Rose of strawweight. I know she's had some wins, but it just hasn't been the exciting Rose Namajunas that we've grown to love at strawweight. So maybe later on she'll come to a realization, but I feel like she's not a fighter that stays in the media too much and doesn't get wrapped up in the game and stuff like that. So she kind of lives her quiet life and stuff. So that's why I don't necessarily see her going down, although I would love it if she did. But I feel like she knows that she has the name value, that if she can just pick up another win, she could be right back in or like get a title shot. So, I mean, as well at 25 outside of Manon Fiorot, there aren't too many. Like, you've got Macy Barber,
Blanchfield,
and Blanchfield fighting, but Blanchfield's coming off as a loss to Fiorot, and then now you've got Rose Namajunas. Who's Rose fighting again? I forget.
I'm not sure. I think she's fighting lower down in the division though.
Miranda Maverick, that's who she's fighting.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean. Like, she went from fighting the Joannas, the Zhang Weilis, the Carla Esparzas, those like legends of the division, to no disrespect to Miranda Maverick, but a loss to Miranda Maverick is going to set her way back, right? So that's what I mean. But she does have the name value, and there isn't crazy amount going on at 25 where maybe. But that's the thing. She needs that impressive win at 25, which she hasn't done yet.
Yeah, completely agree. We spoke about the ranking system, and I've got, like you, I've got Joanna at the top so far. I've got Weili second, Rose third, and Carla fourth. Do you think, considering that Joanna's retired, I think Carla's retired as well now, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And then obviously Rose up at 25. Is there an argument to say that not just having more title defenses than Joanna, but if Weili can go up and capture that 25-pound belt, does that separate her from the pack as well?
Well, I guess people are going to point to the fact that Joanna couldn't achieve it. But yeah, it's recency bias will always come in, right? Like, that's how we think. Like, as soon as something happens, it's like, remember when Henry Cejudo became double champion, everyone was like, wow, like greatest combat sports athlete even, or whatnot. Now look at the way people talk about Henry Cejudo, because he's lost a couple. So it's like always recency bias. It's easy to forget what people have done and what they've achieved. So I think the more, because like you said, Joanna's retired, Carla's retired, Rose is up a weight class. The more time passes, the more we're going to forget Joanna's achievements. And if Zhang Weili continues winning, whether it's at 25 or 115, that's what's going to be in our mind, right? So, I think if she does capture a second title, especially Valentina, if Valentina is the champion, I think that would make people say that for sure, especially that they're going to point and be like, well, she beat Joanna twice as well.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, Farah, before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to promote or tell the people where they can find you, so whether they can also support you, please?
The usual social medias, Farah Hannoun at Instagram, Twitter. Granted, I'm not that active on Twitter, but I am there. Then, of course, my work is at MMA Junkie.
Amazing stuff. Doing some amazing stuff. Always a fan of your interviews. You have a good knack of being able to not just control interviews, but making fighters feel relaxed, which is a real skill and a talent itself. So keep on killing it, man. You're doing great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. I appreciate you. People, if you haven't already, make sure you go and follow Farah and go and support the work she's doing some fantastic stuff. Smash the like button, but more importantly, people, let us know who your Mount Rushmore. Do you disagree with me? Do you disagree with Farah? Let us know in the comments below. People, thank you so much for watching and listening. Till we see you again, take care. Speak soon.